Heartwarming journey, billionaire discovers incredible love after overhearing shocking betrayal. Nathan Hayes stood before the glittering crowd at the charity gala, feeling the weight of his carefully cultivated wealth and status on his shoulders. The chandeliers sparkled like stars, but they felt distant. His heart raced with excitement, but something felt hollow. He remembered the cramped rooms of his childhood home, the laughter of his family echoing in the modest walls. Now, those memories fought against feelings of isolation, having traded connections for accolades that seemed to slip through his fingers. As he wandered through the crowd, he overheard laughter that sent chills down his spine. Can you believe Nathan's still riding that American dream wave? It was his best friend, Mark. Nathan's chest tightened, heart thumping like a drum. Curiosity tugged him closer. He thinks he can save the community with his checkbooks. What a laugh. I can't wait to help him fail. Betrayal hit like ice water, freezing his thoughts. This was the man he trusted most, the person who had stood by him through thick and thin. That night twisted into a blur. He felt nauseous, swinging between disbelief and sorrow. The very community he used to champion suddenly seemed alien to him. Those familiar faces now reflected from the edges of his billion-dollar world. Each conversation felt empty as he navigated the gala, fighting tears that begged for release. Then, an unexpected meeting changed the trajectory of his spiraling thoughts. Marissa, a dedicated school teacher, stood nearby, caught in a conversation about equity in education. Her passion was palpable, like a warm glow in a cold room. Nathan was drawn to her, a light in his shadowed life. "We can't give up on them," she declared, her gaze firm. "They have dreams too." The sincerity in her words sparked something deep inside him, and warmth wrapped around his heart. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days melted into nights, and Nathan found himself drawn back to her. Together they spoke of dreams and destinies, available paths to mend their broken community. Each laugh they shared wove threads of connection through his heart, illuminating his life with vibrant colors he had forgotten. With Marissa, Nathan was reminded of lost values, the essence of determination rooted in purpose. But even then, darkness lingered closer. Not long after their bond blossomed, a scandal erupted like a tempest. Accusations of fraud enveloped Nathan's company, speculation that twisted knives into his back. His Miami mansion felt like a prison crafted from gold, and as he faced the camera's flashing accusations, his blood boiled with anger and hurt. Life had flipped upside down. It was no longer a success story. Caught in a tempest, with Mark becoming an enemy, he faced a crossroads. The devotion he felt for Marissa clashed with the camaraderie of their past. Should he protect old friendships or embrace something more meaningful? Nathan was left to grapple with the question that gnawed at him: could love win against betrayal, and would integrity shine brighter than gold? With a heart full of resolve, he braced himself to confront the storms swirling inside him. As the turmoil brewed, Nathan prepared for an explosive encounter. Could he defend all he had built and cherish the love that transformed him? The future hung in the balance, thick with uncertainty and amplified by the longing for redemption. Nathan stood on the balcony of his grand Miami mansion, the sea stretching out before him like a vast canvas, flickering with sunlight. The salty breeze tossed his hair back, but it brought no clarity. Instead, it felt heavy with the weight of the past days, the echoes of betrayal reverberating in his mind. He stared at the waves crashing against the shore, wondering if he could wash away everything that had happened. He felt torn apart, suspended between loyalty to a friend who had chosen betrayal and a burgeoning love that promised more than he had dared to hope for. Marissa's laughter from earlier echoed in his mind, a sweet sound that sang of hope, yet just beyond that melody lay a harsh truth. Fraud accusations hung over his head like a storm cloud, dark and threatening. The thought of facing the media was daunting. What would he say? How could he justify the betrayal he felt from Mark, not to mention defend his integrity? Yet Marissa's face filtered through his swirling thoughts, her unwavering spirit inspired him. She had stood for her students, always fighting for them, representing love and hope without a hint of reservation. If she could pour her heart into the community, perhaps he could muster the courage to face his demons too. He needed to reach her, to seek the comfort of her presence. Picking up his phone, he scrolled through his contacts. Nathan's finger hovered over her name. He let out a shaky breath, reminding himself that vulnerability was not a weakness but an act of true strength. He dialed. "Hello?" Her voice danced through the line, sounding warm and inviting. "Hey, it's Nathan," he replied, heart racing. "Could we meet? I need to talk about everything." After a brief pause, she agreed, and the tightness in his chest eased slightly. With their meeting set for later that evening, he spent the hours in between pacing the house, shifting anxiously from one room to the next. The mansion felt stifling, the walls closing in as memories of laughter mingled with the bitter taste of betrayal. When Marissa arrived, she brought a fresh air with her, wearing a soft smile that seemed to disrupt the fog around him. He led her to the back porch where the city lights twinkled like stars above them, and the sound of the waves rolled in from below. She looked around, then turned to him with a curious gaze. "Nathan, you look stressed. What is going on?" she asked, her concern palpable. Taking a deep breath, he opened his heart. "I overheard Mark talking, saying things that made me question everything I thought about our friendship. Then, with the scandal hitting the media, I've felt like I'm losing everything I've worked for, and I don't want to lose you too." Marissa's expression softened, and she reached out to him, her fingers brushing against his. "You're not losing me. I believe in you more than you can imagine. You have the chance to turn it all around. You don't have to face this alone." Her reassurance felt like a balm to his wounded spirit. He could see vulnerability in her eyes, too. The weight of his struggles resonated with her own battles in the education system. Together, they could face anything, and for the first time since the scandal began, Nathan felt a flicker of hope. But as they shared plans to confront the accusations, a sudden thud interrupted their moment. A group of reporters, aggressive and relentless, emerged from the shadows, cameras flashing like lightning, eager for a glimpse into Nathan's turmoil. "Nathan! What do you have to say about the allegations?" someone shouted. Marissa squeezed his hand tightly, grounding him in the chaos. In that instant, he knew he could stand tall, not just for himself but with her by his side. The moment of truth had arrived. As Nathan turned to face the cameras, he felt a surge of courage. Would he be able to stand strong against the tide of lies and betrayal, and find a way to keep his newfound love alive amidst the chaos? He took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to defend everything he believed in. But could he find the right words to silence the storm brewing around him? As Nathan's breath hitched in his throat, the cameras flashed like stars in a darkened sky. Each click felt like a jab, an unwanted intrusion into a moment that was finally his to reclaim. Marissa stood beside him, her presence a tether to reality. He could feel her courage surging through their linked hands. It fueled him, grounding him in the storm of chaos swirling around. He raised his chin, forcing himself to meet the eyes of the reporters. "I'll address the allegations," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. "But I want to make one thing clear: these accusations do not define who I am, or the integrity I've built over years of hard work." The group murmured, the sound a low rumble like distant thunder. He saw a reporter in the front shift, her expression skeptical yet intrigued. "And what about your friendship with Mark? Do you consider him a friend still?" she pressed, her intent clear. Nathan faltered for a moment. Mark had been a brother to him, their bond had been forged through years of shared ambition and dreams. But betrayal cuts deep, and he felt the weight of his answer pressing hard on his chest. "My relationship with Mark is complicated," he said finally, "but I know the person I am. I won't allow anyone to distort it, not even him." Marissa squeezed his hand again, a silent reminder that he wasn't alone. He could feel the strength radiating from her, a soft glow against the sharp edges of his turmoil. He glanced at her, finding solace in her unwavering gaze, even amidst the aggressive crowd. "But what proof do you have?" another reporter shouted. "How can you expect us to believe that you're innocent?" "Nathan." Someone else chimed in, "Are you stepping down from your company in light of these accusations?" A rush of panic swept through him. The thought of surrendering his dreams felt like giving in to the very betrayal that had turned his world upside down. But he couldn't show weakness. Not now. With a deep breath, he pushed through his fear. "I'm not stepping down. I will fight for my name and for the trust of those who have stood by me. I believe that the truth will emerge." The air shifted slightly, a cool breeze brushing against him, and though doubt lingered in the back of his mind, he felt fire ignite in his belly. Nathan turned to Marissa, and in that moment, he realized this was more than just about allegations. It was about love, trust, and fighting for what truly mattered. He could see the storm wash over the reporters' faces, a mix of skepticism and curiosity. Their questions faded momentarily, but Nathan knew he had to do more. He needed to anchor public support and showcase vulnerability, not just strength. "I won't deny mistakes have been made." Just as he took a breath to continue, the flood of a new voice broke through the crowd, familiar yet shocking. "You're nothing but a fraud, Nathan. Your pretty words can't hide the truth." Nathan turned, heart racing, to see Mark stepping through the throng, anger etched on his face. The betrayal was palpable, deepening the ache in Nathan's chest. The chatter among the reporters intensified, their interest peaked once more as they surged toward Mark. Marissa's grip tightened on his hand, the warmth of her presence grounding him despite the chaos. "Stay focused," she whispered, her eyes never leaving his. But could he truly focus when the very friend he had trusted was about to unravel everything? Nathan's world felt like it was spiraling away. The flicker of hope that had kept him upright now dimmed under the weight of betrayal. As Mark opened his mouth, Nathan braced himself. Whatever was coming next would determine the course of his life. He could feel everything hanging in the balance. Would he find the strength to defend himself, and could he hold on to Marissa's love when uncertainty loomed so large? With adrenaline coursing through him, Nathan steeled himself. What would Mark reveal? And how would Nathan counter it? The truth was on the verge of unraveling, and he had to fight to protect not just his name, but his future with Marissa hanging precariously in the balance. Mark pushed forward, weaving through the mass of reporters with an unsettling confidence. His eyes locked onto Nathan, a wicked glint illuminating his features. "Everyone deserves to know how you truly operate," he declared, his voice bold yet laced with venom. The cameras swiveled to capture this unexpected twist, flashes sparking in tandem with rising tension. Nathan felt his heart race, not just out of fear of the words that might unfold but because this was someone who once shared his dreams. "Mark, don't do this," Nathan implored, frustration and hurt tangling in his voice. "We don't need to bring out each other's past failures here, this isn't about destroying one another." "Oh, but it is." Mark shot back, a smirk playing across his lips. "This is the moment everyone has been waiting for, the fall of Nathan Morgan." Marissa sensed a shift in Nathan. She could see the way his shoulders hunched, the flicker of self-doubt that emerged, threatening to cloud the determination in his eyes. She stepped closer to him, standing firm beside her man. "You don't have to listen to him, Nathan. You're not alone in this." With a deep breath, Nathan focused on the moment. He could feel the weight of every eye in the crowd resting on him, hungry for a story not just for the drama but for the truth that had yet to be revealed. "What are you trying to gain by this?" Nathan asked, his voice calm but edged with steel. Mark laughed, the sound chilling. "Gain? You think this is about gain? This is about exposing a liar, a cheat. You've built your empire on the backs of others, Nathan. Everyone deserves to see the facade come crumbling down." The word liar struck him like a physical blow. Anger surged within him. How had Mark twisted the truth so effortlessly? "That is not who I am," Nathan defended, the heat of righteousness surfacing. "I've worked hard, built relationships based on trust and honesty." Mark scoffed, leaning slightly closer as if drawing in the crowd. "Is that so? Then why were you so quick to throw me under the bus to cover your own failures? Did you think I'd stay quiet forever?" With every accusation, Nathan felt a fresh wave of hurt wash over him, but also resolve. He could see the flicker of uncertainty in some of the reporters' eyes. They were starting to sense a crack in Mark's bravado. "Let us talk about the real failures," Nathan said, raising his voice above the chatter. "Let us talk about how you walked away from us, how you thought ambition was worth more than loyalty. This isn't just my story, it's ours." A gasping silence settled over the crowd. The murmurs intensified, shifting from curiosity to a mix of empathy and indignation. He could tell that his call to authenticity was resonating, even if only for a heartbeat. "Look around, Mark," Nathan continued, scanning the sea of faces as if he could connect with each person. "People crave honesty. They don't care for betrayal masked as truth. If you want to save your own image, stop this nonsense." Mark's expression shifted momentarily, doubt creeping in, but he quickly masked it with anger. "You don't scare me, Nathan. The truth will come out, and everyone will see you for what you are. That's enough." Marissa shouted, her voice rising above the fray. It was fierce, protective. "Nathan is fighting for himself and the people who care about him. You only want to hurt. We deserve better than this." As the tension spiked, Nathan felt a swell of pride for Marissa's courage. She had become an undeniable pillar of strength through this storm. And in that moment, he realized something: the fight wasn't just his anymore, it was theirs together. Mark hesitated, his eyes darting between Nathan and Marissa, assessing the fresh energy that had surfaced. Suddenly, his bravado faltered. Nathan seized the opportunity, tapping into the moment. "Let us choose this fight wisely," Nathan said, his voice strong and clear. "I won't be defined by your lies, but by the people in my corner." The reporters' excitement rippled through the air, a wave of shifting allegiances as Nathan stood strong. He had more to say, and deep. Inside, he could feel the truth pressing against the walls of his heart. Could he reveal the true story without losing everything he held dear? With each breath he took, he realized the real battle lay ahead: the confrontation of both Mark's allegations and the depths of his own life choices. As he prepared himself for what was to come, uncertainty loomed larger than ever. What would he have to sacrifice to protect everything he loved? Nathan's mind raced as he stood before the thrumming crowd, a maelstrom of emotions swirling within him. Would revealing the truth mean exposing the wounds he had worked so hard to heal? Each moment stretched like an elastic band ready to snap. He could feel Marissa's hand reassuringly squeeze his arm, grounding him in the chaos. "Mark, you think you know me," Nathan said, his voice steady even as his heart thundered. "But the man you see, the one you're trying to tear down, he's evolved. He's learned. You don't just destroy dreams, you build them too." There was a collective intake of breath from the crowd. Some were nodding. Nathan caught sight of a few faces that seemed familiar. Old friends, people from his past. Evolved? Mark sneered, clearly not ready to concede. "Is that your excuse for sinking so low?" "Take a look around," Nathan said, gesturing to the crowd which was now hanging on to his every word. There's a difference between ambition and a need to step on others to get what you want. I chose ambition without malice. You, on the other hand. The murmurs of the crowd began to swell, the air thick with the anticipation of an escalating conflict. Mark's anger crackled, but the tides were shifting. What's the truth, Nathan? A voice called from the back, breaking through the tension like a knife. If you're not what Mark says, what are you? Nathan inhaled deeply, his throat tightening. He knew this was his moment. He looked past Mark and met Marissa's gaze again. There was a bond stronger than any accusation looming. Her unwavering belief in him fueled his flame. Years ago, I made mistakes, he began, every syllable weighted with intention. Mistakes that cost me a friend, a partner even. We've all been there, haven't we? Trying to balance dreams with loyalty, wondering who will be there when the chips are down. I lost sight of those values, and it led to a fracture. I'm not proud of it, but I've learned. Sometimes the cost of success is more than just numbers. The crowd shifted, some members visibly softening. Hope glimmered in the air now, and Nathan didn't want to lose it. Yes, Mark called me a liar. But I also have to fess up to my shortcomings. He took a step closer to Mark, his voice gaining strength. Perhaps I did underestimate the bond we shared back then, but I never meant to betray you. You left me no choice. It was me or our dreams. I thought the choice was simple: turn away from you to chase success. Mark's mask wavered slightly as Nathan pressed on. I was wrong. And for that, I am sorry. The weight of his words resonated, rolling through the crowd like echoes from a distant past. Then came the awkward silence. Even Mark's rage seemed to stumble. The truth had a way of hanging heavy in the air, and hesitation threaded through the crowd. Nathan felt a surge of courage. Hadn't he come here for this moment? To stand up not just for himself, but for everyone who had to face their failures? Let us not pretend this is just about us, Nathan said, his voice quaking but resolute. It's bigger. I know others who've been through hell to find themselves again. If your journey includes hurting others, are we really winning? I'm fighting for a better narrative. The crowd paired its empathy with a ripple of applause, as if waking from a slumber, familiar faces mixing with strangers. Mark's expression was one of disbelief now, the venom flaring then dimming. Do you really think they'll buy your act? He snarled, unsuccessfully trying to mask his doubt. But Nathan saw the seed of empathy sprouting in people's hearts. There was a power in vulnerability, and he felt it rising. Marissa's steady presence bolstered him further. This is our moment, Nathan, she whispered just loud enough for him to hear. Stand tall. As the words settled around him, something shifted. Nathan straightened, drawing from the collective energy swirling within and around him. Could he really reshape this narrative? He felt the truth bursting inside him, ready to spill out like a dam freed beyond what was already flowing. Jonathan, one of his oldest friends, raised his hand and shouted through the chatter. Tell us about the good you've done, Nathan. Others joined in, stepping forward. Their voices merging enhanced the spirit of solidarity that pushed against Mark's accusations. The momentum had changed, but Nathan sensed they still hung in the air, the weight of silence pressed against him. The real question lingered: could this fragile moment hold against everything that Mark was ready to unleash? Are you ready to fight back? Nathan whispered to himself, as the tension lifted like a thick fog. The battle had just begun, and he had to brace himself for the storm that was yet to come. What would it take for Nathan to strip away the layers of betrayal and own his truth? Would he finally reclaim his narrative, or would Mark's final jab shatter everything he loved? With the crowd's energy fueling him, Nathan felt emboldened. The harsh criticisms, the weight of the past, it all seemed to diminish as he faced Mark. Yet, a fear prickled at the back of his mind. What if all this bravado spiraled into something he couldn't control? Nathan, Mark shouted, launching a fresh assault, his voice laced with desperation. You think you can patch it up with a few heartfelt words? The truth is buried deep, and it won't just disappear because you say sorry. There's power in owning up to our mistakes, Nathan countered, his conviction rippling through the crowd. It's not about erasing the past, but learning from it, standing up for what's right. I refuse to let our lost years define our futures. People in the crowd were shifting. Some faces were a testament to his journey, a mix of hope and recognition. He could see Emma, his erstwhile ally, her eyes glowing with the flicker of hope he dared to stoke. Listen up. Emma shouted, pressing forward. We all have our battles. Nathan isn't the villain he's painted out to be. We've all stumbled. But we can rise together. Nathan's heart surged with gratitude. Each person who stepped forward seemed to pull him into their narrative. This wasn't just about him anymore, it was about a community, about healing. For every time I faltered, I also had people lift me up, Nathan said, his voice gaining an assertive rhythm. There were moments I almost gave in to despair. But standing in this crowd today reminds me of something: we rise or fall together. He glanced at Marissa, who beamed like a lighthouse guiding him back from the storm. Mark scoffed, clearly rattled. You think you can drown out my words with this warm and fuzzy meeting of hearts? It's richer than you'll ever deserve, he hissed, but Nathan could tell the quiver in his voice revealed a different story, a simmering doubt, clawing at the surface. You're right, Nathan said, compassion seeping into his tone. I don't deserve it. Not yet. But none of us are perfect. We're human. And that's where we find strength, when we embrace our flaws instead of letting them drive us apart. The crowd murmured in agreement, some nodding as memories of betrayal and resilience echoed back to them. Maybe they saw fragments of their own battles in Nathan's soul-bearing honesty. Mark, we could have built something incredible together, Nathan continued, stepping forward again. You always claimed I took everything from you, but we had a vision. Can't you see? Maybe it's still there. Just waiting for us to reach out and grab it. For a moment, silence draped over the crowd like a heavy blanket. Everyone knew those unspoken dreams might have been burnt to ashes, but were they truly irretrievable? But then Mark's eyes flickered with malice, his stance portraying the ugly truth. Dreams? Your claims of redemption are just that, claims. A fleeting mirage. The crowd's feeling swayed, the energy shifting again. Some looked uncertain, doubt began to creep back into the mix like a chill in the air. Don't let him turn this moment into an echo of the past. Marissa's voice broke through, fierce and determined. You all see it, right? Nathan took another deep breath, seeking the calm amidst this storm. It's about making choices, climbing back from the depths. Every person here has scars, scars that tell stories of resilience. He spoke directly into the eyes of those who had been hurt, focused on them with the intensity burning through him. They were all part of this journey together, from pain to healing, and he refused to let them slip through the cracks. I'm here, ready to chart a new course, he declared, the fire in his belly igniting. Not just for myself but for each one of you. Will you give me that chance? The crowd stirred, some hands raised, others shouting words of support. Yes, the tide was turning, albeit slowly. But Mark, with a look that promised chaos, leaned forward, his voice barely above a whisper yet filled with venom. This isn't over, Nathan. Not by a long shot. As Mark's threat lingered in the air, the atmosphere thickened with uncertainty. Nathan realized the battle was far from won, the stakes only growing higher. Would their hard-earned moment of unity withstand Mark's next move? Would he find the strength to confront the shadows of his past, or would they come crashing down like a wave determined to reclaim what was lost? The crowd held its breath. Nathan could feel the tension pulsating like a live wire. It was as if time had slowed, the weight of Mark's threat hanging over them all. Doubts, fears, and hopes mingled in the air, thick and palpable. Nathan's heart raced, but he tightened his grip on his resolve. "Look around," Nathan shouted, his voice piercing through the silence. "This is more than a simple apology. This is about rebuilding something real. We've all been through so much. It's time to turn this pain into something beautiful." His words echoed, igniting a spark. Faces brightened. He saw courage flicker to life in the eyes of those who had once felt lost. The raw vulnerability he displayed resonated with the crowd, each individual connected through their shared struggles and dreams. "Remember the days when we imagined a different future?" Emma's voice rang out, taking Nathan's side. "Those dreams can rise from the ashes if we work together." Mark narrowed his eyes, frustration boiling beneath the surface. "You're wasting your breath, Nathan. They'll follow false hope until the end. And when the dust settles, all that'll be left is disappointment." "No," Nathan countered, shockwaves rippling through his being. "Disappointment won't define us. Not anymore. We can choose to write a new story." With each word, he felt the energy shift. People leaned forward, eager to break free from the weight of their pasts. As the crowd began to cheer, their voices harmonizing into an anthem of hope, Nathan felt a swell of determination wash over him. "Yes, it's messy. Yes, we'll stumble. But standing here, I see a path not just for me but for all of you. Together we can forge something lasting." But even as their voices rose, the shadows lurked in Mark's glare. "You can't build a future over empty promises," he hissed, every word dripping with disdain. "You'll fall, Nathan. And I'll be right there to watch." In that moment, anger surged in Nathan. Not just for himself, but for everyone who had dared to dream alongside him. He replied, voice steady and unwavering. "You can keep lurking in the shadows, Mark. But the light of this crowd is stronger than any darkness you can muster. We won't be defeated." Behind him, Marissa stepped forward, her hands clasped as if she were invoking a silent prayer. "Believe in the beauty of today. We've already taken the first step together." As the unity of voices grew louder, a wave of emotion filled Nathan's chest. There was an undeniable strength blossoming. They weren't just fighting for him, they were fighting for themselves. But Mark, unyielding, threw a final challenge. "Then let us see how far your newfound hope can stretch before it snaps." The crowd fell silent, the dread of Mark's words settling in. Nathan glanced around at the faces illuminated by the last rays of the setting sun. Fear threatened to seep back in, but he wouldn't let that happen. "Hope isn't fragile," he declared, rallying the crowd once more. "Hope is a force. And together, we will not only face the storm, but we'll dance through it." With that, an electric excitement surged through the group. They rallied around him, their voices lifting, drowning out Mark's venomous threats. But Nathan knew deep down that Mark was still out there, plotting, waiting for the opportunity to strike again. Behind the newfound solidarity lay a question that loomed heavy. Would their bond truly withstand the trials ahead? And was the strength the crowd felt genuine, or merely a mirage, destined to fade away? The thrill of anticipation mingled with fear as Nathan took a step forward, ready to embrace whatever came next. Would their belief hold firm against the impending storm? The crowd erupted, their voices entwining in a powerful chorus that seemed to shake the very ground they stood on. Nathan felt a rush of adrenaline, a connection pulsing through him, drawing strength from every person who stood beside him. He didn't just want to lead, he wanted to ensure they all moved forward together. "Let us unite, not just against Mark, but against every doubt and fear that held us back." Nathan's voice rang out, filled with urgency. He glanced over to Emma, who was stepping forward, her determination mingling with his. Together, they were refusing to let darkness swallow them whole. "We deserve to fight for our future," she added, her eyes scanning the crowd, looking for anyone still hesitating. "Don't you feel it? This is about more than just us. It's for every single person waiting for a sign that it's time to rise." The energy surged even higher, hands joining one another, their faith igniting sparks of raw hope. Nathan noticed a few heads nod, smiles breaking through once more, every person rediscovering the strength they thought they'd lost. But then he saw Mark stepping to the side, a smug grin in place despite the tension rippling through the crowd. With each calculated breath, he exuded an aura of calm that felt unnerving. It was as if Mark thrived on their turmoil, relishing his role as the dark cloud threatening their gathering. "Can you hear that?" Mark shouted, his voice slicing through the noise. "That's the sound of your hopes unraveling. How long before you turn on each other?" Nathan recognized the familiar pang of doubt creeping back in, threatening to shatter their fragile unity. He had seen it too many times. Hope could be broken if they weren't vigilant. "You think your words can tear us apart?" he called back. "You're wrong. We're stronger than your games." The crowd hesitated for a brief moment, doubt flickering like a fragile candle, but Marissa stepped in front of Nathan, her hands burning with conviction. "Do you remember when we fought for each other?" she asked the crowd, her voice unwavering. "Remember the nights we shared our dreams? Together, we can make those dreams real." The atmosphere grew electric again, Marissa's confidence acting like a catalyst that reignited that spark. Nathan felt it too, now more than ever. "They wouldn't back down. Let us create something new right here," he urged, stepping closer to the sea of faces. "Let us reach into the depths of our pain and pull out something extraordinary. For every wound that has been inflicted, let us turn it into something that heals." He felt the crowd responding, excitement bubbling as they lifted their heads high, refusing to let Mark's venom taint their resolve. Yet, just as he thought they couldn't be swayed, Nathan noticed a flicker of hesitation among the edges of the gathering. A young man, barely out of his teens, clutched the hands of an elderly woman beside him. Was he unsure? Fear flickered in his eyes, as if he wanted to believe but had been burned too many times before. Nathan sought to connect, kneeling before them. "I see you," he said, steady and sincere. "You are not alone. Each of us has been doubted. But we have a chance. Together, we can fight for every beautiful moment yet to come." The young man's face softened, and the elderly woman squeezed his hand tighter. Nathan felt the warmth of something tangible, their collective courage solidifying like unbreakable stone. But just as hope surged again, Mark laughed, dark and unsettling. "Keep pretending. I'll be watching your inevitable collapse." The tension wrapped around Nathan once more, thicker than before. "Remember this moment." Nathan turned back to the crowd, determined to drive home an unshakable truth. Our strength lies in our unity. We are a force, not fragile but fierce. And there it was, that flickering spirit within them that refused to be snuffed out. But in the depths of Nathan's heart, anxiety gnawed at him. Could they really stand firm against the chaos Mark promised? What if their hope wasn't enough to hold back the storm? As the last rays of the sun faded, behind the horizon, a decision loomed, one that would shape everything they built in that moment. Would they take that leap together, or would doubt tear them apart? Nathan drew a breath, heart racing, ready to take that step whatever it would mean for them all. The atmosphere grew thick with tension, like a storm brewing just beyond the horizon. Nathan's heartbeat drummed in his ears as he searched the crowd, looking for signs of resolve. The faces around him were a mix of hope and fear. He could feel every heartbeat, every breath, urging him to lead them through the uncertainty that Mark had sowed. "Can you all feel it?" he continued, voice steady but urgent. "This is our moment. We can face whatever comes our way as long as we stand together." A wave of agreement rippled through the crowd. People clapped their hands, and a few even cheered. The elderly woman beside the young man raised her voice, we won. Be scared. Not anymore. That small declaration sent a shockwave of energy through Nathan. He looked back at Emma, whose eyes sparkled with a fierce determination. They were fueled by the same fire, the same relentless drive to protect what they believed in. "Let us show Mark he's wrong," Nathan shouted. "Let us show him that we're invincible together." As he spoke, he felt the shift in the crowd. It was subtle, like the first stirrings of spring after a harsh winter. He saw the young man nodding now, his face lighting up with a spark of determination. "Yeah. Together." Someone shouted from the back, and the sound ignited more cheers. Nathan couldn't help but smile. Each voice lifted the others higher, like a buoyant tide that fought against the darkness threatening to wash over them. But behind that rising energy, Nathan sensed the shadow Mark cast. He turned to face him, hoping to dispel the looming threat. "You can laugh all you want, Mark," Nathan called out. "But this is where your games end. We're not backing down. Not ever." Mark's laughter rang out, chilling as ice. "You're all so deluded. Unity? You think that is going to save you?" For a fleeting moment, Nathan felt doubt creep back in. Was he just a fool? Could they withstand Mark's influence? But then he looked around and saw the determination etched on the faces of those who stood beside him. Emma stepped forward, matching Nathan's energy. "We're not deluded, Mark. We're fighting for something greater than ourselves. You will never understand that, and that's why you'll lose." The crowd erupted again. Voices tangled in an exhilarating crescendo of hope and defiance. They were more than just individuals, they were a chorus, rising together against the discord Mark represented. In that instant, the young man next to the elderly woman stepped forward. "I want to believe," he shouted, voice shaky but powerful. The crowd quieted, eyes on him. "We've been scared for too long. I refuse to give up my dreams. I refuse to let fear win." Cheers erupted anew. Nathan felt the pulse of hope swell stronger than ever. That young man's courage breathed life into the crowd, feeding the flames of determination. "Surrender isn't the answer," Nathan told them all, stepping closer. "Let us fight so that none of us are left behind. Together, we'll rise beyond the pain, beyond the scars. Together, we are a new beginning." But as he spoke, Nathan could see Mark's eyes narrowing. The tension in the air shifted, becoming palpable. He knew Mark was plotting something. The way the crowd had come together felt like a fragile glass ornament, it could shatter or become a masterpiece. As night fell, a sudden chill enveloped them, casting long shadows. Something felt off, like a heavy weight settling over the vibrant energy they had built. Nathan glanced back at Mark, sensing he was just waiting for the right moment to strike. What move would he make? Would their collective strength hold? A sense of foreboding gripped Nathan like a vice. The choice before them felt monumental, and he had to act swiftly. "Are you with me?" Nathan raised his voice again, heart pounding. "Will you believe in our strength?" The echo of yes filled the space, but a question lingered in the air. Would it be enough? Mark stepped forward, a dark smile spreading across his face. "Let us see how long this charade lasts." Nathan's breath caught in his throat. What was Mark planning? What did he have up his sleeve? In that electric moment, Nathan felt everything slow down. The cheers of the crowd faded into a muted roar as Mark's gaze pierced through to his core. The challenge hung in the air, heavy like storm clouds gathering before a tempest. "What do you have planned, Mark?" Nathan narrowed his eyes, trying to read his old friend's intentions. Mark's confident demeanor was unnerving, but Nathan held tight to the strength radiating from the crowd. They had come too far to back down now. "You'll see," Mark replied, an unsettling calm in his voice. "Just watch how quickly they turn on you when the truth comes out." Nathan felt a pulse of frustration and fear, yet amidst it, a flicker of resolute strength ignited. He turned back to the crowd, whose faces still shone with hope, curiosity, and determination. No matter what he throws our way, we are united. Together. The crowd roared back, voices rising like a wall of sound, puncturing through Mark's threat. As if spurred by the energy, a young woman stepped to the front, her boldness infectious. We've faced challenges before, and we'll face this one together. Nathan felt the warmth of unity blossom, yet Mark's heavy gaze lingered. What truth could he possibly unveil? A cold beat of anxiety trickled down Nathan's spine, but he dismissed it swiftly. He'd find a way to keep the narrative in his hands. The moment stretched, and Nathan seized it. This isn't just about me or Mark, it's about all of us. We're all on this journey, we each have our stories of resilience. He scanned the crowd, his heart full of gratitude. Each face reflected the trials they carried, and a flicker of determination ignited in Nathan. It was time to openly share the truth, not hide from it. Drawing a deep breath, he began sharing his own struggles, the missteps he'd taken, how he'd once let ambition blind him to loyalty and friendship. I'm not perfect, and I've made mistakes that hurt both of us, but I want to move forward. Together. Each word softened the edges of doubt, wrapping around the crowd like a comforting hug. They absorbed his honesty, their faces shifting from skepticism to a compassionate understanding. As he spoke, Mark fumed. You think they'll forgive you just like that? You don't deserve any of this. But the crowd's response was more powerful than Mark's dismissal. We believe in second chances. Someone shouted. Nathan felt a swell of hope surge within him. It was contagious. A wave of renewed energy rippled through those gathered people who had come to share their hearts, their frustrations, and now, their unyielding support. But just as the resolve strengthened, Mark took an aggressive step forward. And what about the fraud allegations? You'll never escape those. A hush fell over the crowd, the shadow of doubt creeping in again. Nathan's heart raced, but he knew he had to confront this too. The murmur of apprehension fueled his drive. I'll take on those accusations. They don't define me. I'll prove who I am. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. They wanted to support him, and he felt the weight of their collective belief bolster his spirit. Together, we can rebuff the storm and rebuild. The energy surged once more, their cheers a powerful roar of affirmation. Each voice blended into a symphony of unwavering spirit. Mark's face twisted in frustration. He stepped back, sensing his control slipping. Was Nathan successfully rebuilding the narrative? In a decisive moment, Nathan took a deep breath and faced Mark head-on. What do you want from this, Mark? Why attack your friend instead of working together? Mark's expression softened briefly. Nathan seized the chance, sun rising over the horizon as possibility spread. We once shared dreams that could still be real. We could lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. The crowd was rapt, and Nathan could feel the shift. Mark sensed it, too. The walls around him were subtly crumbling with each revelation Nathan shared. Do you really want to be known for this betrayal, or do you want to be remembered as someone who inspired change? Nathan pressed gently, the warmth of his words penetrating the coldness that had defined their relationship. I've watched you fall into this pit of greed, Mark retorted, but his bravado wavered. You've changed, and so have I. But we can change for the better. Nathan cried, urgency brightening his voice. The crowd responded, an echo of fervor rippling toward Mark. You can stand with us. Let us be better for the people who are counting on us. The energy in the air felt electric, fluxing with possibility. Mark hesitated, caught in the crossfire of his choices. Nathan sensed the opportunity slipping through his fingers, so he pressed forward decisively. Let us be honest for once. Let us fix this together, Mark. And for a fleeting moment, it felt like the tide might turn. Everybody held their breath, caught in that instant, waiting for Mark's answer. Could he break free from the shadows, or would he double down on betrayal? Mark's jaw clenched, uncertainty clouding his features. Nathan took one last step toward him, vulnerability streaming out. Our worth isn't dictated by greed or betrayal. It's about lifting each other up. Will you choose a stronger path? Then, like a gust of wind, clarity broke through Mark's hardened expression. A glimpse of something remorse, perhaps, flashed in his eyes. It was gone as rapidly as it appeared, yet uncertainty lingered. The crowd's voices melded into a powerful crescendo urging Mark toward redemption. Nathan pressed on, heart racing with hope. Let us turn the page. Write a new chapter, one forged in strength and unity. Mark's gaze slipped toward the crowd, caught in the moment. Nathan felt the collective hope surge. This was it, the choices of the night coiling to a phenomenal climax. Would Mark, once a trusted friend but now an adversary, take that step toward healing or plunge back into darkness? Your friends are calling you home. Choose wisely. Nathan's heart thundered as they all leaned forward, faith and anticipation palpable in the air. But as the silence stretched, the weight of decisions grew heavier. Mark could either embrace the path to redemption or continue to sow division. Which would he choose? Nathan held his breath, everything hanging in the balance, but in his heart, he knew together, they could withstand anything. The future, uncertain but intertwined, was begging to be written anew. Time to embrace the journey ahead. With every heartbeat, the crowd stared, eager for the answer that awaited them all. Would they step into light or shatter amid shadows?